it has been here in Oxnard, California through the first week and a half for the Dallas Cowboys training camp. You've seen stocks rising, you've seen stocks still in question. We've seen it literally all here. And we're going to break it all down on Inside Cowboys Training Camp, driven by Ford. Nicole Hutchison alongside Youmans, and Jaydon Blue has been trying to build a case and make a case to make that 53-man roster so far, making some noise with his speed, but a lot of other things. But so far, you know, you guys have Deuce Vaughn out with an injury so far, but you saw an uptick in first and second team reps with Jaydon Blue. What stood out the most?
Well, this running back competition remains wide open. You're going to see the veterans like Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders get their reps because they are the veterans, but we're starting to see both Jaydon Blue and then his rookie counterpart Phil Maffa get those extra reps, starting with Blue and what he brings to the table. Jaydon Blue is a home run threat at any point when he touches the football, and we've seen that on the field out here in Oxnard. His speed stands out. His pass catching ability stands out. And one of the things that he didn't necessarily showcase during his time at the University of Texas was the pass blocking. That has seen an uptick, says head coach Brian Schottenheimer. He talked about how he's seen other elements of his game, the film study, the pass blocking, all of those different elements that you have to be successful as a running back in the NFL. Jaydon Blue is starting to learn those and apply those when he gets to the practice field, and he's strung together a couple really good sessions when the pads have come on.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to maturity, having to mature a lot faster than you'd expect to, and that was something Miles Sanders, when I got a chance to speak to him, he mentioned that, you know, it's kind of hard being a rookie in this league. You got to mature faster, you got to be able to handle the mental parts of this game, and he said that he's also been helping Jaydon Blue as well kind of maneuver that. But do you potentially see Jaydon Blue carving out a starting role in this offense?
It's not out of the question. It's not out of the question because you've seen it even recently in the NFL. Take the team that's going to be here later in the week in the Los Angeles Rams. They have a fifth-round running back in Kyren Williams that earned a starting job midway through his rookie season. Guess what? They also compare size-wise. They're both 5'9". They're both 160 pounds-ish, give or take a couple pounds since they've joined each of those respective teams. So with all of that being said, it's not out of the question that a Jaydon Blue type of player, especially with the wide-open running back competition that we've seen here in Oxnard, can carve out a role to start. I don't think it'll be that way to start. I don't believe he'll be the starter week 1 when we take on Philadelphia September 4th. However, I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity for Jaydon Blue to get the football and make an impact.
And there's also been opportunity for Phil Maffa as well, who's seen some first and second teams reps. What stood out from Phil?
Well, it's the fact that the physicality is starting to show now that the pads are on. Of course, he's behind the 8 ball as a physical, bruising sort of running back like he showed during his time at Clemson over the last 4 seasons. But now he gets to show it with the pads on. And even Brian Schottenheimer during his press conference earlier in the week said, I'm starting to feel Phil Maffa. He's starting to feel that presence, that physicality, that extra oomph that he's going to punch as a former Tiger now running for the Dallas Cowboys. He's got a long hill to climb in order to make this roster just because he is a later draft pick, because he was a day 3 selection. Also, not to mention, he's got Jaydon Blue as another day 3 selection who has that home run ability. Plus, he's got 2 veterans in front of him. But he does bring something different that the 3 guys outside of him, Williams, Sanders, Blue, bring, and that's the size. If he can utilize that and the physicality, I think Phil Maffa has a chance to make the roster.
This is a much different position the Cowboys were in just a year ago, having so many different running backs be able to bring different things to this room. But just real fast, how much more confident do you feel like with all these different guys in this room?
I think we're getting there. It's going to be a running back by committee if the season started tomorrow. I want to see somebody emerge, and we haven't seen that yet. So the confidence is starting to grow, but it's not completely solidified quite yet.
Well, the confidence is starting to grow in Jaydon Blue, is starting to grow in Phil Maffa, but also Miles Sanders, a veteran that's looking to make himself separated from the pack. We'll break down and I'll go one-on-one with him up next.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
One thing's for sure, Miles Sanders didn't come to Oxnard, California to blend in. From his shiftiness to his explosive runs to stepping up in pass protection, he's trying to showcase why he can still be a starter in this league. And I sat down with him in today's Sleep Number feature to talk about camp, competition, and how he expects to stand out from the rest of the pack.
Just my, just show my experience in the league, being able to do every different type of run scheme that they have going on, and picking up every blitz, listening to Dak's verbiage and stuff. That's probably the hardest part right now, being in there, getting used to being in there with a vet quarterback. But yeah, just really, I'm happy that I'm showing that I can show my different run styles and stuff when I have to, when I can be physical if I have to, or to use my speed when I have to.
That was something I was going to ask you about. I saw you pick up a blitz from Keemon Hall, and then Dak was able to go deep and find George Pickens for a touchdown. How much do you take pride in being able to showcase that part of your game?
No running back is going to be on the field if you can't protect the quarterback, and yeah, so I'm not going to let nobody touch Dak like that. So, so I take pride in that. Every time I'm back there, whether if it's Bryce or Jalen, no matter whoever I was playing with, Carson. That's what I take pride in.
And I know you did mention you guys are brothers. You guys still do things outside of here, but it's still like that friendly competition. But every rep carries weight here, right? What are you doing to kind of separate yourself from the pack, would you say?
Just playing with a chip on my shoulder, I had last 2 years haven't went the way I wanted it to. So I'm just trying to showcase that I still got a chip on my shoulder, still got a lot of juice left, and still can be a starting running back in this league. That's all I'm trying to show. That's all.
You've also been in competitive rooms. I think we mentioned that before, talked to you about that a little bit, but how does this one compare to those?
It's wide open. If you're being honest, it's wide open. They haven't named a starter yet, and they're looking for one, and that's all I need.
Well, back to wrap things up here after the break. We're talking safeties. Malik Hooker, who has stood out through the camp so far. Mickey Spagnola joins us up next.
This segment was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Wrapping things up here on Inside Cowboys Training Camp, driven by Ford, Nicole Hutchison alongside Mickey Spagnola and Kyle Youmans, and we're breaking down the safety room who's looking to be a safety net in this defense. Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, who have been asked to do a lot more than past years, but how can you kind of evaluate the way that they've kind of elevated their game?
Well, the pads came on for Malik Hooker, and I think somebody told him this was tackle football. I think one of the things that maybe Matt Eberflus impressed upon him was that for us to be a good defense against the run, everybody has to be involved. There's no house guests. And I thought Malik Hooker in that first padded practice and then going forward, I think he believed that I'm coming here to tackle. I'm not thumping up. I'm putting guys on the ground.
Absolutely.
Now, there's not been a ton of conversation around both Hooker and Donovan Wilson throughout camp. Is that a good thing when it comes to the safety position? You don't necessarily want to be talking about those guys this early in the process.
Yeah, no one's sitting there going, all right, well, I don't know who the starters are, right? Those guys, I think, have solidified themselves. And then there's guys that kind of were stepping in maybe to rotate in certain situations, like Wanye Thomas. Now he's out a little bit here, had a little injury, but I think those are the guys, and Marquise Bell has been in there. But those two starters, to me, you guys, they're the starters.
Yeah, you don't want them to be talked about, but there's a lot of guys who want to be talked about as the days go on. Padded practice continues tomorrow. That's a wrap here on Inside Cowboys Training Camp, driven by Ford. Nicole Hutchison for Kyle Youmans and Mickey Spagnola. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.